Once upon a time, above the clouds in the magical city of Limora, there lived a curious young boy named Marvis. Oh, what a clever boy he was. Marvis had big, bright blue eyes that sparkled with excitement behind his round glasses, and his scruffy brown hair seemed to always stand up as if it were full of ideas. He lived in a magical little lab filled with bubbling potions, ancient scrolls, and glowing tools. Now, Lumora wasn't just any city. It floated high in the sky above the clouds, with golden buildings, streets that sparkled like diamonds, and lanterns that floated in the air like little glowing stars. The people of Lumora loved Marvis because he always surprised them with his inventions. One day, Marvis thought, I want to create something truly magical, something that's never been seen before. So he worked day and night in his lab. He mixed glowing potions, read thick books, and finally, ta-da, he invented something extraordinary. Magical chocolates. These weren't ordinary chocolates, oh no. They came in two colors, red and green, and each chocolate had a very special power. The red chocolate could summon Furry, a fiery ghost with blazing flames, while the green chocolate could summon Grep, a ghost that controlled plants and nature. When Marvis showed his magical chocolates to the people of Lumora, they were amazed. Everyone gathered around his lab to see Furry with his crackling flames and Grep with his glowing green vines. How wonderful, the townsfolk said. Marvis became even more famous, and people whispered his name with excitement. But in the shadows, someone was watching. Far away in a dark, spooky lair lived a villain named Trex. Trex was a tall, scary man with glowing red eyes and a swirling black cloak. When he heard about Marvis' magical chocolates, he laughed a mean, terrible laugh. "I must have them," he said, greedily rubbing his hands. Trex made a plan to sneak into Marvis' lab and steal the chocolates. One night, when the skies were dark and quiet, Trex crept into the glowing streets of Lumora. Everyone was asleep, and the floating lanterns lit the way. Trex sneaked into Marvis' lab like a shadow. Inside, the magical chocolates glowed softly in their jars. Trex's red eyes lit up. "Mine now," he hissed as he reached for the red jar. But oh no, the moment Trex touched the jar, a magical alarm went off. The whole lab lit up with golden light, and glowing runes danced in the air. Trex froze, his eyes wide. "What's happening?" Marvis, who was fast asleep, woke up to the alarm. He grabbed a lantern and ran to his lab. When he got there, he gasped. There was Trex holding the jar of red chocolates. "Stop right there!" Marvis shouted. Trex turned and sneered. "Ha! You can't stop me, boy." But Marvis wasn't afraid. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a red chocolate. With a confident grin, he popped it into his mouth. In an instant, a fiery burst of light filled the room. And whoosh! Furry appeared. The fiery ghost hovered in the air, surrounded by flames that crackled and popped. Furry's glowing eyes fixed on Trex. "Attack, Furry!" Marvis commanded. Furry raised his fiery arms and sent a fireball flying toward Trex. "Ah!" Trex shouted as the heat singed his cloak. Desperate and scared, Trex tried to block the fire with his magic staff, but Furry was too powerful. Trex dropped the jar of chocolates and bolted for the door. "This isn't over," Trex yelled as he ran off into the night, his cloak still smoldering. Furry floated victoriously beside Marvis, the flames slowly dying down. The next morning, the people of Lumora cheered for Marvis when they heard what had happened. "You saved the chocolates and scared away Trex," they said. Marvis smiled, but he wasn't done yet. He decided to make his lab even safer. With Furry and Grep's help, he set up new magical defenses, and Grep even grew an enchanted garden around the lab to keep intruders away. And what about Trex? Well, Trex slunk back to his lair, angry and embarrassed. "I'll get you next time, Marvs," he muttered, staring at a glowing map of Lumora. But Marvs wasn't worried. He knew that with Furry and Grep by his side, no villain could ever succeed. And so Marvs went back to his lab, dreaming up his next big invention. The people of Lumora slept peacefully, knowing their clever little inventor would always protect them. The end.